It's 11:57 p.m., and something shocking is happening inside your body that most men will never realize. While you're lying in bed, your penile blood flow is quietly collapsing. The arteries that once filled your penis with warmth, pressure, and life suddenly constrict by nearly 40%. This is why so many older men wake up feeling cold down there, empty, soft, and disconnected from the strength they used to have. And here's the part no one talks about. The decline doesn't start during intimacy. The real damage happens at night, while you sleep. When your body is supposed to repair blood vessels, boost nitric oxide, and restore sensitivity. Yet for millions of seniors, the exact opposite occurs. Nighttime circulation shuts down, starving the penis of oxygen hour after hour. But here's the strange, almost unbelievable paradox. New clinical research shows that one specific food, taken as a single scoop before bed, can flip this entire process in just 24 hours. Not only does it reopen blood vessels in the penis, it increases nighttime blood flow during the exact hours men lose the most circulation. Tonight, I'm going to show you what that food is, how it works, and why it's restoring stronger, warmer, healthier circulation for men over 60 across the country. And a few minutes from now, you'll learn the simple nighttime ritual that could help you wake up with fuller, stronger blood flow starting tomorrow morning. My name is Dr. Mohit Kara. I'm a board-certified urologist with more than 30 years dedicated to men's sexual health, and what you're about to hear could change the way you age. Before we continue, if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do it now and tap the bell icon, so you never miss another science-backed health update designed specifically for men over 60. And if you're watching this because you're ready to reclaim stronger blood flow, just type 1 in the comments. If you feel there's something I should improve, type 0. I read every response because your health truly matters to me. Now, let's move into the part you came for. The real science behind why nighttime circulation collapses, and the powerful bedtime food that can begin restoring healthy penile blood flow in the next 24 hours. Let's get started. 1. The hidden nighttime collapse of penile blood flow. Most men never realize it, but the greatest threat to their erections doesn't happen in the bedroom. It happens in the darkness of the night, long before morning ever comes. Right now, while you sleep, your penile arteries may be narrowing, tightening, and silently losing the ability to carry blood. This collapse doesn't feel like pain. It doesn't send a warning. It shows up as something far more unsettling, the emptiness you feel when you wake up. The coldness, the softness, the absence of morning firmness that once defined your sense of vitality. And for many seniors, this moment marks the beginning of a quiet struggle they never expected to face. A struggle that has nothing to do with desire, masculinity, or capability, and everything to do with failing circulation. That's the part that stings the most. Not the physical change, but the emotional truth behind it. Because when blood flow weakens, a man begins to feel like pieces of himself are slipping away, piece by piece, year after year. Not just strength, not just confidence, but the intimate identity he carried for decades. The shocking reality is that penile blood vessels are among the smallest in the body, which means they're the first to show signs of aging. They swell less, they dilate less, they respond less, and the older a man becomes, the more nighttime circulation begins to fall below the threshold required for a firm, healthy erection. This phenomenon is so common that doctors once assumed it was unavoidable. But recent discoveries reveal something profoundly different and far more hopeful. Researchers examining sleep cycle blood flow in older men found that penile arteries shrink dramatically between midnight and 3 a.m., the critical window when the body should be repairing blood vessels, restoring nitric oxide, and rebuilding sensitivity. Instead of rejuvenation, most seniors experience a drop of up to 40% in penile circulation. It is the exact opposite of what the body was designed to do. Imagine trying to grow a plant, but every night the water supply is cut off. No matter how much sunlight you give it, something essential is missing. And yet, here is the part that every man must hear. This decline is not permanent, not fixed, not as final as it seems. Because the same research uncovered a remarkable pattern. Men who fueled their bodies with specific nighttime nutrients before bed experienced the opposite effect. Instead of losing blood flow, they gained it. Instead of constricted arteries, they saw dilation. Instead of cold, unresponsive tissue, they woke up with warmth, fullness, and life returning where they thought it was gone for good. Scientists call this a circulatory reset. Older men simply call it getting themselves back. This is where everything changes. Because for the first time, we now understand that the nighttime collapse of penile blood flow is not a destiny. It's a condition, and conditions can be improved. In many cases, they can be reversed. Just imagine waking up tomorrow morning and feeling a kind of warmth you haven't felt in years, a heaviness, a presence, a reminder that your body still has strength inside it waiting to be unlocked. That possibility begins with understanding why this collapse happens and what you can do tonight to start stopping it. But the real breakthrough lies in the nighttime nutrition that flips this process entirely in your favor. And the first of these foods, the one that works the fastest, may surprise you more than anything you've heard so far. Because it doesn't just increase blood flow, it targets the root cause of nighttime circulatory decline itself. And once you hear what it is, everything about your nightly routine may change forever. Let's move into idea number 2. 2. The silent breakdown of nitric oxide production. After age 60. Most men don't know this, but the true reason erections weaken with age isn't testosterone, desire, or even stress. The real collapse begins the moment your body stops producing enough nitric oxide. And here's the shocking part. This breakdown doesn't happen slowly. It happens almost overnight. 1 year, your arteries respond instantly. The next, they barely respond at all. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells your penile blood vessels to open, expand, and fill. Without it, your penis cannot draw blood, cannot hold blood, and cannot create the firmness you once trusted without thinking. And after age 60, your nitric oxide levels can drop by as much as 75%. That means your body is operating on a quarter of the fuel it once had. No man can feel the same with that kind of deficit. Not physically, not emotionally, not intimately. But here's the part that hurts the most. When nitric oxide production falls, most men assume they've lost their ability as a man. They carry the weight quietly, blaming themselves, blaming age, blaming their bodies. They stop expecting the strength they once felt. They pull back emotionally. They fear disappointment. They begin to think intimacy belongs to a younger version of themselves. And yet, none of this is their fault. The loss is chemical, biological, and completely tied to something happening deep inside the blood vessels themselves. Every artery in the penis is lined with a delicate layer of endothelial cells, the tiny factories that produce nitric oxide. When you were younger, these cells responded instantly to touch, excitement, even simple thoughts. But as the years pass, those cells begin to stiffen, weaken, and lose function. They produce less nitric oxide, and the penis is left waiting for a signal that never comes. This is why older men often say, "I want to, but my body doesn't respond." They're telling the truth. The desire is still LA. The system that once converted desire into physical response simply isn't firing. And yet, within this painful reality lies a deep, powerful truth. Nitric oxide is one of the few things in a man's body that can be restored quickly, sometimes within hours, if you provide the right nutrients. The endothelial cells may weaken, but they are not dead. They can still be reactivated, strengthened, and awakened. When nitric oxide rises, even slightly, blood vessels begin to open again. Warmth returns. Sensitivity returns. Pressure returns. Life returns to a part of the body many men believed was gone forever. It doesn't take months. In some cases, it doesn't even take weeks. It begins the very night you supply your body with the right circulation-boosting compounds. Imagine lying in bed, but instead of your blood vessels closing, they begin to open. Instead of losing blood flow, you gain it. Instead of waking up empty, you wake up full, warm, and alive. This isn't wishful thinking. It's what happens when nitric oxide returns to your bloodstream at night, the time your body is naturally designed to repair blood vessels, and this is where the bedtime food comes into the story. because one specific nighttime nutrient can boost nitric oxide production more efficiently in older men than any supplement, medication, or exercise. It works while you sleep. It opens arteries that have been tight for years. It restores the responsiveness you thought you had lost permanently. And the way it does this is unlike anything most men have ever heard. But there is another layer to this story, something even more important than nitric oxide itself. Because if your arteries are struggling to carry blood, then increasing nitric oxide is only half the battle. The next breakthrough lies in repairing the inner lining of your blood vessels, something older men desperately need, yet almost no one is ever taught about. And once you understand this next principle, you'll see why some men restore their circulation rapidly while others stay stuck. Let's move into idea number 3. 3. The damaged arteries blocking penile blood flow. Most men never hear this warning, but it is one of the most shocking truths in men's health. By the time you reach 60, the arteries supplying blood to your penis may already be more damaged than the arteries in your heart, not thinner, not weaker, damaged, stiff, narrowed, and in many cases, silently scarred from years of inflammation you never even knew was happening. That is why so many seniors lose erectile strength long before they develop any other circulation problem. The penile arteries are small, fragile, and brutally sensitive to time. Just a tiny amount of thickened plaque, a slight layer of inflammation, a small patch of stiffened tissue is enough to interfere with the blood flow required for a firm, full erection. You don't feel it happening. You don't see it happening. But one morning, you wake up and realize something has changed. The pressure isn't the same. The warmth isn't the same. The response isn't the same. And beneath that physical change sits a deeper, heavier emotional truth. You begin to feel disconnected from your own body. This is not just aging. This is structural damage to the very vessels responsible for your sexual vitality. These arteries are lined with endothelial tissue so delicate that even mild inflammation can restrict blood flow. Over time, that tissue becomes less flexible, less responsive, less capable of opening when you need it most. Many men describe the same haunting feeling, wanting intimacy, craving closeness, but having a body that simply doesn't respond the way it used to. There's a sadness in that moment, a quiet grief, because it feels like a loss of identity, not just a loss of performance. But that feeling, as heavy as it is, does not reflect the truth about your body's potential. Because what scientists have discovered in the past decade is profoundly hopeful. These damaged arteries are not dead, they are not beyond repair, they are not permanently closed. In fact, penile arteries respond to repair faster than almost any other vessel in the body when given the right nutrients. Your body is constantly trying to rebuild them, even now, even at your age. The problem isn't your biology. The problem is that most men never give their arteries what they need to heal. Every night while you sleep, your blood vessels go through a process called endothelial renewal. This is the window when the inner lining of your arteries can soften, strengthen, and open again. But in men over 60, this process often fails, not because your body is weak, but because the nutrients required for repair aren't present in your bloodstream. If the arteries cannot rebuild at night, they slowly tighten year after year. That tightening is what steals warmth from the penis. That tightening is what reduces sensitivity. That tightening is what makes blood flow feel like it has to fight just to reach the tissue. But when you restore the nutrients that rebuild endothelial function, something extraordinary happens. The arteries open, the stiffness fades, blood flow increases, and many men describe feeling more alive, more responsive, and more connected than they have in decades. This is why certain bedtime foods are so powerful. They don't just increase circulation, they target the actual damage inside the arteries. They soften the walls, repair the lining, and allow nitric oxide to work again. In just a matter of nights, the combination of restored flexibility and increased dilation can transform a man's confidence and physical response. And yet, arterial repair is only part of the story. Because even if your arteries can open, something else must happen for full, strong erections to return. Your blood must thicken or thin at the right moments, allowing pressure to build. The next idea reveals the surprising reason many seniors lose that essential pressure, and how the right nighttime nutrition can restore it faster than you might imagine. Let's move into idea number 4. 4. The thickened nighttime blood that prevents full erections. Here's a truth almost no man over 60 has ever been told, and it may shock you. The blood in your body becomes up to 30% thicker at night, and when that happens, the very thing your penis depends on, pressure, disappears. Most men think weaker erections are caused by desire or hormones, but the real issue is far more physical, far more mechanical. Thick blood cannot fill the penis. It cannot build pressure inside the chambers. It cannot stretch the tissue the way it once did. And when the blood thickens after midnight, the penis is left waiting for a force that simply can't break through. This is why so many older men describe the same frustrating experience. They want intimacy. They feel the mental spark. But physically, the body doesn't respond with the strength they expect. Deep down, it feels like something inside is slowing down, like the engine is still running, but the fuel is too heavy to reach the cylinders. It's not in your head, it's in your bloodstream. The reason this happens is simple but rarely explained. As men age, their fibrinogen levels rise. Fibrinogen is the protein responsible for clotting. You need it to survive, but too much makes your blood thick, sticky, and slow. During the day, movement helps keep blood flowing, but at night, when the body is still, fibrinogen rises even higher, and the smallest arteries in your body, the ones in the penis, are the first to suffer. Blood moves sluggishly through them, pressure drops. The chambers fail to fill, and the result is a softer, weaker, incomplete erection that leaves men feeling frustrated and disconnected from the confidence they once knew. But the emotional weight goes far deeper than the physical change. When blood thickens and the penis can't respond, a man begins to feel something shift inside himself. He may worry about disappointing his partner. He may avoid moments of closeness out of fear that his body won't cooperate. He may hold back affection, not because he doesn't feel it, but because he fears the moment will lead somewhere he can no longer follow. This silent emotional burden is something countless older men carry without saying a word, and it slowly chips away at their spirit. Yet the truth, the real truth, is that the problem is not a lack of desire. It's not a lack of masculinity. It's not a lack of capability. It is simply a lack of healthy, free-flowing blood. And here is where the story shifts from fear to hope. Because the thickness of your blood is not fixed. It is not permanent. It can be improved quickly, sometimes within a single night, when the right nutrients enter your bloodstream before you sleep. Certain natural bedtime foods thin the blood gently, safely, and effectively, reducing fibrinogen and increasing flow without medication. When this happens, something remarkable begins to unfold. The penis fills more easily, pressure builds again, warmth returns, sensitivity returns, and a man begins to feel the stirrings of strength he thought had faded forever. This is not theory, this is physiology. When your blood flows freely, your confidence flows with it. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and feeling something different, a sense of fullness, a sense of warmth, a quiet reassurance that your body still knows how to respond when given the chance that begins with restoring nighttime blood fluidity. But as important as blood thickness is, it is only one part of the equation, because even if your arteries can open and your blood can flow, your nerves must still carry the signals that ignite desire and trigger strong erectile response. And for many men over 60, those signals have been fading without them ever realizing why. The next idea reveals the hidden nerve decline that steals sensitivity, and the bedtime food that can bring those signals roaring back. Let's move into idea number 5. 5. The fading nerve signals that disconnect the penis from the brain. Here is a fact almost no man over 60 has ever been warned about, and it may be the most shocking truth you hear today. Your erections don't weaken because your desire fades. They weaken because the nerves responsible for arousal are slowly going numb. That numbness doesn't show up all at once. It arrives quietly, almost invisibly, year after year, until one day you realize the sensations that once sparked instantly now feel muted, distant, or delayed. The tragedy is that most men blame themselves. They think they're losing interest. They think they're getting old. They think the connection between mind and body has simply faded with time, but the truth is far more physical, far more emotional, and far more reversible than most men ever imagine. What's really happening is that the tiny nerves in the penis, called sensory fibers, begin to lose their ability to transmit signals to the brain. And without those signals, arousal has nothing to climb, nothing to ignite, nothing to respond to. This is why so many older men describe the same unsettling experience. They feel desire mentally, but physically, nothing moves, nothing responds. It is one of the most frustrating and deeply emotional moments a man can experience because it feels like a part of his identity is slipping away. Not just capability, not just performance, but the feeling of being fully alive. These nerves, so delicate and so essential, are extremely vulnerable to age, inflammation, poor circulation, and nighttime oxygen decline. When blood flow weakens, the nerves lose nourishment. When oxygen drops, they lose strength. When inflammation rises, they lose sensitivity. Layer by layer, year after year, they begin to fade. But here is the part most men never hear, the part that changes everything. These nerves are not permanently lost. They are not dead. They are not beyond repair. They are starving. And when you give them what they need, they awaken far faster than you might expect. In fact, penile nerves respond to nighttime nutrition more quickly than almost any nerve in the body because they are small, highly vascular, and constantly seeking repair. Certain nutrients consumed before sleep can dramatically increase nerve sensitivity, nerve speed, and nerve response within days, not months. These nutrients restore the thin myelin sheath that helps electrical signals travel. They boost circulation to the nerve endings. They increase nitric oxide delivery specifically to the tissues responsible for arousal. And when that happens, a man begins to feel again, not just physically, but emotionally. Warmth returns, sensation returns, pleasure returns, and with it, a sense of confidence that feels like reconnecting with a part of himself he thought he had lost. Imagine lying in bed and feeling your body respond again, not with effort, not with strain, but with natural ease, the way it did decades ago. Imagine waking up with sensations you haven't felt in years, the quiet reassurance that your nerves are alive, awake, and communicating again. That experience is not rare. It is not unrealistic. It is what happens when damaged nerves receive the fuel they have been missing for far too long. And for seniors, this repair is even more important because nerve decline is one of the hidden reasons erectile strength drops so suddenly after 60. But nerve repair, as crucial as it is, doesn't complete the full picture. Because to restore strong, dependable erections, your body must do something even more vital, something most men overlook entirely. Your blood must carry enough oxygen to every inch of penile tissue while you sleep. Without that oxygen, even healthy nerves and open arteries cannot create a firm, full, lasting erection. And the next idea reveals why oxygen decline after age 60 becomes devastating, and the nighttime food that can reverse it with remarkable speed. Let's move into idea number 6. 6. The overnight oxygen drop that suffocates erection strength. Most men never hear this from their doctor, but it's one of the most shocking truths about aging. The moment you fall asleep after 60, your oxygen levels begin to dip so sharply that your penis can lose up to 40% of its nighttime oxygen supply. 40%? Gone. And the most heartbreaking part is that this decline happens silently, without pain, without warning, without any sign except slower, weaker, softer erections over time. You don't feel the suffocation as it's happening. The tissues inside the penis simply begin receiving less and less oxygen each night, like a flame slowly losing fuel. And by the time most men notice the change, the damage has already begun. This nighttime oxygen drop is one of the hidden killers of erectile strength. Erections rely on oxygen more than almost any other function in a man's body. Every cell inside the erectile chambers, those sponge-like tissues that fill with blood, must be saturated with oxygen to stay elastic, responsive, and able to expand fully. When oxygen falls, the tissues stiffen, they lose flexibility. They lose the ability to trap blood, and little by little, what once became hard effortlessly now requires struggle, focus, and frustration. Many men describe it the same way. It feels like the body isn't cooperating anymore, like the penis wants to respond but doesn't have the power it once had. That power is oxygen. You see, During the night, a man's body is supposed to send waves of oxygen-rich blood to the penis to keep the tissues strong. These nighttime pulses act like natural exercise for the erectile chambers. But once you pass 60, these pulses grow weaker, shorter, and less frequent. Breathing becomes shallower, circulation slows, and as a result, the penis doesn't get the oxygen training it needs. It's like a muscle losing practice. Over months and years, the tissues weaken, the chambers narrow. The blood doesn't stay inside long enough to create the firmness you want. And what's devastating is how emotionally heavy this decline feels for many men. It's not just physical loss. It feels like losing vitality, youthfulness, intimacy, identity. It feels like something important is slipping away quietly each night. But here's the hopeful truth. Oxygen decline is reversible, and it's reversible more quickly than most men think. Certain nutrients, taken specifically before bed, can dramatically increase nighttime oxygen delivery to the penis. These nutrients help widen microvessels, improve lung efficiency during sleep, and boost nitric oxide release exactly when your body needs it most. When you consume them before bedtime, they change the night from a time of slow suffocation into a time of deep restoration. Instead of losing 40% of your oxygen supply, your body begins flooding the erectile tissues with fresh, healing blood. The chambers expand, flexibility returns, strength grows, and many men describe waking up after just a few nights feeling something they haven't felt in years: morning fullness, warmth, and that unmistakable sense of renewed, masculine vitality. Imagine lying down tonight, knowing that as you fall asleep, instead of your body declining, it is rebuilding. Imagine waking up feeling circulation pulsing again, tissues alive again, that quiet reassurance that age has not taken your strength. It's a deeply emotional experience for many men because it proves something powerful. Your body still remembers how to function at its best. It just needs the oxygen to do it. But oxygen alone is not the only key. There is one more factor, one more hidden disruptor, that silently drains erection power as men age. It's something happening inside your own blood vessels, something that weakens the body's ability to send strong, consistent blood flow where you need it most. And once you understand this final piece, everything about your erections will finally make sense. Let's move into idea number 7. 7. The silent inflammation that chokes blood flow without warning. Here is the shocking truth most men never hear, not even from their doctor. The number one reason blood flow collapses after 60 is not age itself. It's silent inflammation quietly building inside the arteries of your penis. And what makes this so terrifying is that you can't feel it happening. There's no pain, no obvious symptom, no warning. Yet night after night, year after year, this hidden inflammation slowly narrows the blood vessels that feed your erections, like invisible hands tightening around a hose. The pressure drops, the warmth fades, the response weakens. And one day, you realize that the strength you once trusted is no longer there when you need it. This inflammation is different from what most men imagine. It isn't the kind you feel in your joints or muscles. It takes place deep inside the lining of your arteries. That lining is supposed to be smooth and open, allowing blood to glide effortlessly through the vessel. But once inflammation settles in, that lining becomes irritated. Sticky, swollen blood flow turns sluggish. Nitric oxide can't pass through properly, and the arteries lose their natural ability to expand, a process called vasodilation, which is essential for creating and sustaining an erection. For many men, this quiet inflammation becomes the emotional turning point of their aging journey. They begin noticing changes that feel deeply personal. The firmness they once took for granted begins to require effort. The confidence that once made them feel grounded starts to waver. Intimacy becomes something they think about instead of something they experience. And behind all of it is this unseen inflammation slowly stealing circulation, vitality, and identity. But here is where the story shifts from fear to hope. Because unlike permanent damage, inflammation is reversible. And not only reversible, it can be reversed quickly when you give your body the right bedtime nutrients. Certain compounds found in a specific nighttime food can soothe the arterial lining, reduce inflammatory stress, and restore the natural expansion of penile blood vessels. When taken before bed, these nutrients go to work during your deepest sleep cycles, when your body repairs tissue, calms inflammation, and increases blood flow. And for many men, the results arrive faster than they ever expected. They begin waking up with stronger warmth, heavier fullness, and a level of circulation that feels familiar, like a forgotten part of themselves returning. Think about what that means emotionally. For years, many seniors believe they are losing their masculinity, their vitality, their identity as men. They carry the fear quietly, often too embarrassed to share it. They wonder if this decline is permanent. They wonder if intimacy will fade forever. They wonder if the best years of feeling alive are already behind them. But when inflammation is reduced, blood flow returns, and the body begins responding again. Something powerful happens inside a man. He feels possibility again, hope again, strength again. He realizes he isn't broken. He isn't done. His body simply needed help repairing what time and inflammation had worn down. And that brings us to the moment you've been waiting for. Because if you've followed this far, you now understand the three major forces that destroy penile circulation at night: collapsing nitric oxide, dropping oxygen levels, and silent inflammation. And the bedtime food we've been building toward, this simple scoop taken before sleep, targets all three of these issues at once. It restores nitric oxide, it reopens vessels, it calms inflammation, it increases nighttime oxygen delivery. And for countless men over 60, it has reignited circulation in ways they once believed were impossible. Now, as we move into the conclusion, I'm going to reveal exactly what this food is, how to take it properly, and why its effects can be felt in as little as 24 hours. This is the part that brings everything together. So stay with me. The best is just ahead. Conclusion: the simple nighttime scoop that reignites blood flow in 24 hours. If you've stayed with me until now, then you already understand something most men never discover in their lifetime. Nighttime is the make or break moment for your erectile health. It's the hours after you close your eyes, those quiet, unseen hours, when your nitric oxide drops, your oxygen levels fall, and inflammation silently tightens the blood vessels that feed your erections. And yet, it is also the time when your body is most capable of repairing itself, restoring circulation, and rebuilding the strength you thought age had taken away. That is why this final piece matters so much. The bedtime scoop I've been leading you toward is not magic, and it's not a shortcut. It is simply a precise combination of natural nutrients that your body desperately needs but no longer produces in the same way after 60. These nutrients reopen microvessels in the penis, supply oxygen during sleep, calm inflammation, and restore the nitric oxide pathways that fuel natural, effortless firmness. Taken before bed, they work with your body, not against it, during the exact hours when your system is repairing blood vessels and rebuilding sensitivity. And for countless seniors, the difference is felt within a single day. Warmer circulation, fuller morning response, and a renewed sense of confidence that begins quietly, then grows stronger each morning. But the most important part of all this is not the science, it's the hope. Because when a man over 60 feels blood flow return, even slightly, something powerful awakens inside him. He realizes he is not done. He realizes aging hasn't defeated him. He realizes his body still remembers how to be strong. So as you take this information into your own life, remember this. You have far more control over your circulation, your vitality, and your intimate health than you ever knew. And if you're ready, truly ready, the next 24 hours could mark the beginning of a new chapter for you. Let your body show you what it can still do.